Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mr. Happy, aka Mr. Happy Monday, the weekly Q&A show where you'll ask me questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. Sometimes they're really bad answers, though. Like the usual, we now have these things over here. Now, in case there's any animal weapon quests in any of this, I'll tell you right now, I did a video, and I don't know which one of these I'll make that video. I don't want to make any promises and then forget. But one of these will be a video about my thoughts on the animal weapon, since that's like a huge, huge thing right now. Also, this State of the Realm, this Tuesday, we're going to be talking about the animal weapon as well, so keep that in mind. And then we have some Blade and Soul videos here, or we have a Blade and Soul video. We have quite a few things that we did this week, so it should be a good time for everyone who hasn't gotten to catch up on those videos. As for some things to talk about, we hit 800 subs over on Twitch. We did it. We did it. I still can't believe, honestly, that we hit 800 subs, because Mel and I, like, this time, like, January of last year, I think I went into January with 238 subs. Now, keep in mind, one of those is me, which doesn't even count, and the other one is Mel, which, while I won't say it doesn't count, it's not like, you know, like somebody on the internet who just enjoyed my work and wanted to sub. Obviously, she supports me. And so the fact that we've gone from 238 subs to now 806 we're at right now, and even after days, I figured it would drop back down below 800 after a few days, and it hasn't. And honestly, guys, I'm just, like, I don't know. Like, I didn't expect to be here right now. 800 for me was a stretch goal. I figured after the event for, you know, Extra Life, I was like, there's no way we're going to actually get to 800, but I'll make it the goal, because we're going to lose 50 subs on December 10th, because those people should have been unsubbing, because the first sub was for charity, and now they're still subbed, and, like, we didn't lose that many subs. We lost maybe 26 of those subs, and we gained those back. Like, I don't know. It was crazy to go from 7 whatever to 770, back down to 754 to up to 780, and then one day to go from like 790 to like 806 or whatever. So I just want to say thank you, and that means that on live stream, my girlfriend, when we go back to January, or when we go back to LA in January, because I'll be moving there on January 5th. She's gonna do a whole makeup thing. She's gonna, you know, really do me up makeup wise. I'm gonna have to do the whole stream in complete makeup, so I'll embarrass myself for you guys just because I want to keep entertaining you and I want to keep informing you. So thank you everyone who subbed to the channel over on Twitch. If you're not, at least go throw it a follow right now, because we're live 7 days a week, and I know a lot of people have been keeping themselves sane through their anima grinds there. So thank you everyone, and you know, I'll have another video before the New Year's is up, and Mel will actually be here next week. I don't know if she'll be in the video necessarily, but she'll be here in New Jersey with me. And I'll be 25 this time next week, because next Sunday is my birthday. So it's just been crazy. I'll do a New Year's follow-up video, or like a Christmas video or something like that. And I'm also planning on sending all my Twitch subs a Christmas card with a video. So hopefully everyone enjoys it. Hopefully everyone's having a good week. Hopefully you all have a great Christmas if I don't get to speak to you. And on that note, I think it's about time we got to some questions. Alright, first question. Hey, Mr. Happy, good luck on your anima weapon. You said animus, but I know you meant anima. Out of curiosity, does Final Fantasy XI have any seasonal events and collaboration events like 14 did? You know, I don't think it did. I mean, it did eventually, because when Final Fantasy XIV did the Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy XI events, then Final Fantasy XI did a Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy XIV event, and Dragon Quest did one for Final Fantasy XI and 14. But before then, I don't recall any collaboration events. They had tons of seasonal events. Tons of seasonal events. But I don't know about any collaboration events. Final Fantasy XI had some pretty fun seasonal events. I remember there was one where there's like a bull, and it basically, every time it auto attacks, it teleports you to a random zone, and you have to be there when the bull dies in order to finish the event. But if it hits you, then you're gone. Or it has a chance of teleporting you. It has like a 50% chance of teleporting you to one of like a bunch of different zones. There's one where you have to creep through the Beastman areas while stealthed, and you have to finish it before the stealth actually wears off. So there were some good ones. But no collaboration events until the Final Fantasy XI Dragon Quest X ones that actually happened, well, you know, last year. Next question. Hey, Mr. Happy, hope your holiday is going good. I mean, it's not the holidays yet, but it'll go well. I think so. Thank you. I hope you have a good one as well. So question for week 71. I've been trying to get a friend to play 14. He liked it for the first time, but the longer than average GCD made him leave. Does that get better at higher levels? Yeah, because you have to manage like 40 abilities. You have off global cooldowns on top of global cooldowns. Some jobs are faster paced, like Monk or Ninja might have been more up his alley. Probably Monk. And I'd say, yeah, just show him a rotation of like, show him an opener, like any opener of any job. And that should generally give him an idea. Maybe avoid Black Mage, but like Summoner, Monk, Ninja, Dragoon, all of those would be good openers to show him. And then say, and then you have to do this while actually doing a fight. And he'll go, what? But yeah, it does get a lot faster later on once you start managing your global cooldown, especially in active fights in endgame. Next question. Hey, Happy, have a Slim Jim. I love Slim Jims, believe it or not. I've been hearing people saying dark main tanks out of Grit can out DPS off tank warriors in Deliverance. Is this true? So I don't want to speak on that directly. I know that our Dark Knight does a shit ton of damage, and he does this pretty much. So yeah, I guess it wouldn't surprise me. And you're probably wondering how. One of the big reasons is definitely Dark Side. Like, they just have this buff they don't have to worry about if they don't get uptime and they lose maim. They don't have to worry about not having a stance or like switching stances. They just have to have Grit off. And on top of that, Soul Eater is one of the hardest hitting abilities in the game. And on top of that, it's your standard, you know, global cooldown ability, and it's the one you'll probably be using most often. They have tons of off global cooldown abilities that proc a bunch of damage. So it wouldn't surprise me that much. The only thing they run into occasionally is TP issues with Blood Weapon. I'm sorry, well, they used to run into TP issues. They don't run into it as much, but if you can alleviate that even just a little bit, yeah, Dark Knights do pretty solid damage. It's just all about knowing how to stay out of Grit like that. I believe Layla said it on Mog Talk 2 weeks ago, which is another Final Fantasy XIV podcast. I believe Layla said Grit is like an inner beast that costs MP. I think that's what he said. So if you look at it like that and you use it like that as a Dark Knight, then yeah, you'll probably be able to pull out some pretty big numbers. Next question. Yo, Haps, such words as skill trees or trait trees are circling around. Let's shove them away and come up with a new word. Talent trees. That's not a new word. that's skill tree and talent tree are pretty much the same thing. They've both been around. I'm sorry to burst the bubble. But I just came up with another solution, stuff like that. How do you feel about a paradigm system from Final Fantasy XIII being in Final Fantasy XIV? Like defense, offense, support paradigms, just those three to stay in the Trinity on top of the Trinity system so that tank, DPS healer have an explicit defense offense. I mean, that way already exists. Like, you pretty much have the exact same thing with Cleric Stance, with Deliverance, with Defiance, with Sword Oath, Shield Oath. Like, that pretty much already functions as a paradigm shift. So unless... I guess I don't really understand how you're trying to say you would do it, because we already have stances that help determine what you're currently decent at. If anything, it's just another fancy word for skill tree or talent tree, which you could do as well, but it wouldn't be able to be something you would so quickly change between. Although the idea of changing roles mid-fight in order to meet a fight's demand is actually not a bad idea. It's just the implementation of it would be so strange. It would basically be like tripling the amount of jobs we have in the game. Actually, it sounds pretty cool. I just don't think it would really work without some massive combat overhauls. Next question. Hey, Mr. Happy. There's two types of bonuses you seem to like most, so I decided to combine them. Have some tomestones of cookies. No! I haven't gotten any poetics bonuses yet. Guys, Anima Weapon. I need poetics bonuses. Please, I need them. Anyway, with Y'shtola being in the new Dissidia game, do you think we'll get an alternate costume with her wearing Tataru's outfit, or perhaps the outfit that Alphino said he remembers vividly? Oh, Jesus Christ, Alphino. Anyway, I don't see why not. I mean, that's DLC they could add and probably charge like $3 for it. So, there you go. Here's the costume DLC, Square Enix, because you know everyone else is doing it. So let's just do it like you did in 13.2. Just hop on board with it all over again. All right, next question. Hey, Mr. Happy, have a trait that activates a random mudra whenever you leave stealth. Can it just be Raiton or like Catan? Because I don't want single target Dotons. And wait a minute, leave stealth? I never leave stealth. Never do you ever even enter stealth outside of PvP. And it wouldn't make stealth more useful because bosses detect through stealth and going into combat removes you from stealth. So, shit out of luck pretty much no matter what you do. Anyway, I main a bard and I've run into an issue wondering what the optimal AoE rotation for the job is. While there are advice forums out there, I always see answers split, and I was wondering if you had any more concrete answers. Spam Quick Knock while using Rain of Death whenever it's up, or keep up dots on all enemies in the grouping in order to get multiple Rain of Death procs and Quick Knock whenever you have it. So, there's a couple of ways to approach this, and it depends on how many enemies you have present. If there's only 2 enemies, you pretty much don't use Quick Knock. You would just double dot them both with Iron Jaws, make sure you're keeping straight shot Iron Jaws, using all your off global cooldowns, and using Rain of Death in place of Bloodletter. On 3 enemies, it starts to get debatable, because Quick Knock is pretty TP intensive if you spam it, and 3 enemies isn't really a whole lot. It should technically still be the most TP efficient thing you have, but good luck maintaining that of every 3 to 4 enemy pool that you have. When you get to 3 enemies, what some people will do is dot all 3 of them and do the Rain of Death spam, or they'll dot one of them, Rain of Death whenever, and then do Quick Knock. And then when you hit 4 or more, dot one of them, make sure the dots never fall off, and then Quick Knock and Rain of Death whenever available. So, Quick Knock definitely, as you get to 4+ targets, becomes the most efficient way to do it, as long as you can accurately line them all up within Quick Knock. That's the most important thing. But having dots rolling on a single target just to give you potential Rain of Death procs is a pretty good way of also ensuring some pretty balls deep AoE DPS as Bard. Hopefully that helps answer your question, and not just looking at it, it's one absolute, it's based on the situation that you find yourself in. Next question. Hey, Hapsina, how you doing? I'm doing alright, how you doing? I got a future Alexander Savage question for you to go with this question. Here's your item 240 daggers. Oh, you mean the animal weapon that it should have been I-240? Kappa. Anyway. Oh, 130 skill speed. I don't want it. Anyways, even though my group is still on A3 Savage, I'm excited for the Savage at 3.2, but also concerned. It seems like this Savage wasn't scaled very well, thus creating an unbalanced raid IMO. Do you think hope that next Savage will scale better, like how Second Coil was? I'd love it if they scaled it like Second Coil, where the next fight was harder than the last, but still doable with the last boss being that 1,000-foot diamond-coated carbon fire lace steel wall that seems to be A3 and A4. I expect it will be closer to Final Coil or Second Coil's difficulty. I have a strong suspicion that we're going to see still 4 bosses, but more like if we were to put A3 and A4 at the difficulty scale at 9 and 10. Let's just say that those are the scale and that those are there at the highest. A1 would probably be a 4, A2 would probably be a 3, A3 would probably be a 9, and A4 would probably be a 10. And that's debatable. A3 is definitely a 10 with the regular strat, with the sack strat. A lot of people find it easier than A3. I would expect it to be more like 3, 4, 6, 7. That's the difficulty curve that I'm expecting out of the next one. Well, A2, here's the thing. A2 is a lot like turn 4, where when you were under geared, it was hard, and then the more gear you had, it just got easier and easier and easier. So, yeah, I'll still go with that. I expect it to be like a 3, 4, 6, 7, with A3 and A4 sitting at the top of the scale, which would still kind of be harder than Coil. Like 6 and a 7 compared to A3 Savage. Like that's 8. Like turn 9 Savage would probably be the 6. So it's hard to tell. I don't know. It is pretty hard to tell because in full I-110 gear, and also that's harder to describe because the difference between Second Coil Savage and Alexander Savage was that Second Coil Savage was released after Second Coil was done and the best gear, was available to everyone. Whereas Alexander Savage was released with progression in mind. You are going to get gear from this, and as you get more gear, it will become easier and easier. So it's really hard to put it against it, but I guess if you were to put turn 9 Savage at 110, I guess, versus A3 and A4 at like I-190 to I-195, that would be a better way to do the scaling. Because otherwise it just gets completely out of hand. Because once you're in 210 gear, A3 just difficulty plummets as long as you're playing properly. So... but I do expect it to be scaled more consistently. I don't think the word is scaling. You're looking for difficulty scaling. You're looking for difficulty curve. That's what you're looking at. And yeah, I expect the difficulty curve will not be as steep as it was this time. Next question. Hello, Happy, long-time follower, first-time asker. Welcome. Have a bonus of your choice, Poetics. I have 3 questions regarding possible monk adjustments. Please don't let there be a tornado kick question. Please don't let there be a tornado kick question. TLDR, what do you think of increasing 1-0 punch use in PvE? Okay. A tornado kick proc system? Okay. And Haymaker being changed to off global cooldown? Okay, I don't get asked about that very often. So 1, what are your thoughts on the devs introducing buffs to bosses and adds and raids that can be removed via 1-0 punch? Only if they give another job some way of doing it. Because if you have one thing that can only be utilized by one job, then you need that job in order to get it done. I'm all for it, believe it or not. I think 1-0 punch, while it is really good in PvP, it'd be nice if it was okay occasionally in PvE. Just not super often. Don't start doing that on every single boss, you know what I'm saying? Unless you're going to make like a bunch of jobs have it, and then 1-0 punch isn't even really special anymore, other than the frequency with which it can be accessed, probably. And then number 2, I understand Tornado Kick is meant to be a niche level 60 ability, but I am among those who still wish to see a design choice. Honestly, no matter what you say, I am happy with Tornado Kick. If anything, I would just make it a little stronger, but if you make it too strong, then it becomes mandatory to use even when you have Grease Lightning stacks, if it becomes that powerful. I don't think it ever needs to be something that gets used pretty much. I just think it's there for what it is, because Monk was strong enough without it, and now they just have some way of dumping Greased Lightning whenever they know they're going to lose it. And I'm perfectly fine with that functionality. As for Haymaker being off the global cooldown, I'm not opposed to that. It would definitely... The thing is, it's such a niche ability that it already sees such limited use when it's on the global cooldown, even at the lower levels. It's good potency when you're early leveling, but it's not like after that it loses all of its luster, as you'll almost never be able to proc it, and the potency is not worth delaying something else. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. It would just need to be on an X amount of off global cooldown, and it would still need to be only after a dodge. So it's questionable how useful it would be, but if there's ever a situation where Featherfoot can be utilized in order to increase your DPS, then sure, go right ahead. I'm not opposed to it. I don't see any need to bring it up to that point, but hell, why not, right? More damage. More damage for Monk. They already top single target DPS, but fuck it. Even more, and then it becomes a viable off-global... Then it becomes, well, I don't want to say viable, a viable cross-class skill, but yeah, sure, why not? I'm not opposed to it. Next question. Hey, Mr. Happy, I'm not new, but you can have a hug from my cute Vundu warrior minion. Oh, can I have poetics instead? 2 questions. Will the 14 developers ever make a Z-axis or Z in general on the map? Well, we have a Z-axis in the game, but it seems you said on the map. My friend was having trouble looking for ether... Oh, you mean like on the actual map. Oh, you know, that would look pretty cool. It would just be nice if there was not even a Z-axis, but an indicator that says like a little... Okay, so Guild Wars 2 good example, because Heart of Thorns is confusing as fuck to navigate at times. If something's above you, it has a little up arrow next to it. If it's below you, it has a little down arrow next to it. Just add that. There you go. And all of a sudden you know, oh, it's up there, not it's in some random cave below me. It would still be frustrating initially, but at least it would give you some direction at that point. Or if you were down below, you would immediately know, oh, well, it's going to be up, so I might as well go this way. I would at least like to see that. And 2, when do you think the vanity system for summoners will be mentioned again? I don't know, because I think they're focusing on other things right now. That's kind of a thing I expect in 4.0. I don't really expect it in the 3.x series, but I'd like to be proven wrong. I expect we'll hear about it again maybe in 3.3 as we get closer to 4.0, but I'm not sure exactly when we'll see it. Next question. Hey, Haps. Lots of Hap love. Well, Haps love. It's lowercase H-A-P, capital L, lowercase O-V-E. Hap love. First time asking, but I've been to your stream and watching you for a long time. Decided to ask a question. I want to progress, but can't seem to get a raid group. I'm on Balmung. I want to change server. I advertise myself with no luck. I mean, bar and have summoner. Also, I can't seem to beat Thornton. I'm confident I know the fight as I've gotten to enrage, but it just never works out. It's been happening since it came out. I go every day with no luck. Put up a party finder telling people know the whole fight, but Elastic group sometimes can't even get past meteors. This happens time and time again. It's kind of getting on my nerves. Really want that weapon. I get spike 1200 on opener on him and then stabilize around 1000 to 1050 or less depending on tank pull since it's a pug pull. Should I keep trying or just wait for a nerf? To be honest, I wouldn't feel satisfied with a nerf. I think you should give up. You never just give up on something. I don't think you're saying 1200 on your opener. I don't think that's correct. Because if you were doing 1200 on your opener, but then maintaining 1050, that would be really strange because your openers acts as a huge outlier to your DPS over the rest of the fight. But maintaining 1000 by the end of Thornton is good. That's a good number to be at. I think most people won't even do that, especially with all the breaks in the first 3 minutes of the fight. So if that's what you mean, then those are good. Because otherwise, the Bard opener should be spiking much, much higher than that. Also, I appreciate that you don't just say, other people in my party are fucking up. You say, I'm confident that I know the fight, but it just never works out. Which means that it could be any number of things. You're not immediately pointing fingers at like a specific healer or a specific tank, which is good, because it's always good to criticize yourself and think, maybe I made a mistake here. I don't think you should give up. As for raiding, I mean, getting into the raid scene's hard if you don't have experience, especially if you've never stepped foot in A1 Savage. You may need to just be on the lookout for new groups forming by the time 3.2 comes around, once they've commented on what Savage's difficulty is going to be like in 3.2. If it's even going to really be Savage anymore, we'll just have to see. And since there will also be a potential better weapon with the new relic on the way, oh, this was posted on the 15th. Oh, the patch was the next day. Oof. Yeah, I mean, the Bard relic is best in slot, but it's going to be a grind and a half away, so hopefully if you are working on that, Godspeed, because it is your best in slot currently, even if it's like way out of reach. And don't worry about the long post, but yeah, don't give up. I wouldn't say give it up. I know it can be frustrating, but I mean, if you give up, then it never gets beat. Even if you wait for a nerf, there's no guarantee it eventually gets beat. So I'd say that you get it done now, you just keep trying now, and just keep doing your best. Balmung's pretty populated, so if you can beat Thornton, it'll definitely help your odds. And as for looking for a raid group, you might need to do it closer to 3.2's release date. Hopefully that helps you out. Next question. Sup, bruh? I'm not going to give you any tomes, guys. Imagine you're getting tired of all that nonsense. No, I need tomes of poetics, dude. I need all the unidentified shells so I don't have to do A2 ever. Anyway, I've gone through 3 hardcore statics since the start of 3.0. Every team managed to get to A3 Savage on one-shot farm after 2 or 3 weeks, with only 10 to 12 hours per week. That is good. However, every time I was a few weeks into A4, every single team fell apart. It's not even because it was too hard. Every time the same thing happened, one or more members got extremely demotivated by the lack of fun factor in A4 Savage, didn't want to have another job next to their RL job, basically quit raiding, and or took a break until 3.2. I agree, A4 Savage is fucking, not going to use that word, annoying and just plain stupid. I can't honestly blame them. Do you think Square Enix is aware of the fact that the majority of players are utterly annoyed and demotivated by the fun factor in A4 Savage? The majority of players aren't even getting to A4 Savage because they're hitting the wall of A3 Savage, so they are definitely well aware of A4 Savage. They are definitely as aware of A3 Savage, so I'm just going to go ahead and say yes. And as for something that's more flashy, I mean, there's only so much you can do inside of Alexander. What I expect, though, because Alexander will actually be standing more upright, his arm will be more like a climb, and I'd imagine that a lot of things have changed in his shoulder. That's the weird thing about Alexander, though, is the coils, it was like there's it's a bunch of different airships strung together for Dalamud. For Alexander, I mean, it's hard to imagine his one arm being a lot different than his other arm. Like, his right arm is the one we go in first. How much different could his left arm honestly be on the inside? They're probably going to have the goblins fuck around with all the technology in there, because otherwise, to me, it doesn't make sense, but I'm sure they'll figure out something. They are always reading feedback on things, so never assume they're not seeing the feedback. Always assume they're seeing it, because they look everywhere for that stuff. Granted, they don't look on Reddit. They mostly look on the official forums. Sometimes information from Reddit gets back to the official forums, so keep that in mind as well. I think it'll be more interesting, but a lot of this is stuff we're gonna have to wait, because on Wednesday we have the live letter, so hopefully we get some more information about it then. Next question. Hey Haps, as an apology for this whole question, I don't like where this is going. Have a free, fully upgraded animal weapon of your choice. Never mind, your apology is accepted. Yoink. Got it. Let's move on. I was listening to State of the Realm 42, and as you were talking about the whole exodus to Gilgamesh that has been happening recently, it brought up a question to my head. So as I said 2 weeks ago, I changed servers and data centers due to some recent drama, but I didn't tell you that server I went to, I didn't tell you the server, and it was Gilgamesh. Now, I decided to move to Gilgamesh for a complete clean slate so I could play with a friend, and because I thought that coming to a server would help me push myself to learn my chosen job and become a better raider than I was previously. All good motivations. Do you think those were bad reasons? No, it wasn't bad reasons at all. Just because I think too many people are coming to Gilgamesh, it's a matter of perspective. Some people just go to Gilgamesh and be like, I'm going to get a raid group on Gilgamesh with no plan at all. It's a different thing to have a plan. You very clearly have a plan for yourself as a player and what you want to accomplish, and since you are paying for the game, that's a fair reason. It's people who just go and expect, oh, automatically, like, I'm on Gilgamesh, I'll find a raid group, and, you know, oh, my old raid group was such shit, and they get to Gilgamesh and they find out, fuck, it wasn't just them, you know, all of a sudden I can't get into any of these raid groups either because they're saying I'm not good enough. And I've seen that happen. So that's the only thing I'm afraid of for people coming to Gilgamesh. And on top of that, taking the talent away from other servers is never a good thing either. So hopefully that answers your question. But they're not bad reasons to move to Gilgamesh. It's just a matter of you have a plan, and that's good. Next question. Hello there, Monsieur Happy. First time poster, have an astral nodule. Haha, don't need it. Actually, I need them for my ult. Never mind, I'll take it. So the question is a machinist question. Now I main warrior, but I've been training my machinist. I've been enjoying the class, but the accursed RNG puts a damper on my DPS. Either that or I suck at playing the class. Anyway, I was wondering what you think of a good way to improve the outright replace the RNG mechanic. I'm going to be flat out, since you already put it forward. The RNG isn't putting a tamper on your DPS. Machinist, regardless of the fact it does have RNG procs, has many fail-safes for those RNG procs and a consistent way to play the class to output more damage. I mean, that's like, you know, when you're a bard and you say, oh, I didn't get any bloodletter procs. It's like, well, you could still do good damage even if you didn't have as good of a bloodletter proc ratio this fight. Or I didn't crit as often. Crit is another RNG factor for DPS. So it's like, oh man, I crit a lot this fight, or man, I barely crit this fight. Like, it's pretty much the same way along that. So it just sounds like you need to be practicing Machinist more, because the RNG is not going to be the sole result of tampering with your DPS. It definitely makes for variety between fights, but it will not be the sole reason you do not do on par DPS. Next question. Good afternoon. I'm currently on the server Ultra, so I'm looking to change servers. Like in your State of the Realm video, this server seems to die off early like the Behemoth server, so like 2 a.m. And well, the times that I can only play is around 5 p.m. And on Pacific Standard Time. I live on the West Coast, and I'm looking for a server that's predominantly Pacific. See, I guess other than Gilgamesh, I don't know the answer. That's the thing. I haven't been to a lot of servers, so if you're looking for a website, you can ask Reddit on the Mega Thread. I recommend using the Mega Thread. Don't make your own thread. Go to the Mega Thread on Reddit. You can check XIV Soul, but XIV Soul is not really an accurate representation of what's it called, of population. It has a decent like ballpark, but even then, it doesn't count the active characters properly, at least not in my experience. So you can try XIV Soul. Maybe it'll give you the information you want, but if anything, you're just gonna have to ask around more of the community and get people's input from the servers they've actually played on, as I've only played on Sargatanis and Gilgamesh. Next question. Hey Haps, how's your weekend? It's going good. Can't complain. Like I said, hit 800 subs, got some Blade and Soul streaming, got some animal weapon stuff done. I can't complain. 2 quick questions, I guess. Why does the MMO gaming community keep looking for the next WoW killer? Like, I get it. WoW was king, poster boy of the MMO genre for so long, but really, why do so many clamor for it to try and... It's almost like when there's a new fad out. Like, let's say that, like, something's really popular at the moment, or, like, a song is really popular, and so many people love it, like, oh, I love this song. And you have that one person, like, fucking hate the song. I hear it all the time. And it's like that person harbors ill will for it just because it's a popular song. It's pretty much that. It's pretty much the same thing with World of Warcraft. People harbor ill will towards it just because it's king and because it's popular. Same with, you know, Call of Duty or any real popular franchise that, despite the fact that so many people buy it and love it, so many people also hate it and criticize it. So I think of it a lot along the lines like that. And what happened to 14? I mean, Heavensward was great, but ever since Alex, it seems that it's gone downhill in how the community acts towards the contents that the devs produce. A lot of it is the devs want to break the mold. Like, they don't want to just keep developing, hey, we're gonna have this many dungeons and this many raid bosses and this many this. But when they tried to break the mold, they didn't necessarily develop things that the player base that was proper for the player base. Diadem became too much about standing in one place and farming as much loot as possible. It was less about exploring the zone and going to the different islands, and it was so RNG rewarding that a lot of people didn't enjoy it. Same reason why people don't enjoy the Crystal Farm or the Atma Farm is because of its RNG aspect towards getting the loot, even if the loot is progression no matter what. People in the Duty Finder are having issues with gathering versus combat, which there are ways to implement, like, for example, queuing into the Diadem combat or the Diadem gathering. That would definitely be another way of differentiating it so people don't get mixed up, and that would probably improve the quality of the Diadem Duty Finders overall. And then on top of that, you know, Lords of Verminion, while I think it was a fantastically done game, it has some difficult to understand controls. It's got a lot of information overload, and it's development time that could have been spent on combat stuff that people actually genuinely do enjoy. Aesthetics, music, gameplay elements could have been, those resources could have been used to make another boss for Alexander, for example. So there's a lot of question about where it goes. And then the Anima farm is just like, it's farming old content. So a lot of people are like crazy on that too. And on top of that, Alexander Savage, they tried to make its difficulty so high that a lot of people got stuck and had to be like, well, I can't raid anymore. So it's just a combination of all these things. I think 3.2 is going to speak a lot towards the volume of what the devs have actually paid attention to. They've already commented on bringing Savage's difficulty down. That'll make raiders happy. We know they're reallocating resources towards newer types of content. Hopefully that means a 5th boss for Alexander. I have a feeling the Diadem is going to undergo massive changes by 3.2 or 3.25, and then 3.3 even more so. And then Lords of Verminion, I don't know if they're going to do anything on that scale ever again. Mini games for the Gold Saucer, yes, but nothing on the scale of Lords of Verminion that will take as much development time. I just don't see it happening. I think that they're not going to stop trying to deviate from the formula, but they're going to start deviating in ways that have been requested, like different stats on gear or more bosses or things like that, as opposed to literally trying to create another game within their game. So we'll see. I'm curious really because of the live letter this Wednesday, which Marco will be doing a live translation for on my channel. So hopefully you'll be there and you'll be able to find out just exactly what they have planned for 3.2. Next question. Hey, Mr. Happy, I'm taking away your current animal weapon and making you start over because I haven't even started yet. Makes me sad. Okay, you can have it back. Yay. I haven't finished it yet, so Anyway, I have a bit of a bummer question, so if you're wanting to skip this question because you're having a pretty gloomy day, in case you're having a gloomy day, have no hesitation in order to have a fantastic day. I will, and I will read the question. Okay, assuming you want to answer this question, lately I've been very unhappy with my free company, whom I believe I've been with since the beginning of this year. A few members have been doing nothing but irritating me, a lot have been ignoring me, and the whole thing just strips away my motivation to play, and I end up being the silent free company member. I have no more friends. There's more personal reasons that involve them as to why I've been so unhappy, but we'll keep that unspoken. Fair. My question is, sorry to ask, but do you think I should leave? Yeah, this is one of those generic questions that people give me where it's like, do you think I should leave? Like, it's almost like, you know, a buddy giving you advice. And ultimately, my answer is always the same. If you're unhappy, do something to change it. If that means leaving, go right ahead. You know, if you're not talking to anyone, what connection do you have to that free company anymore? Just because they were welcoming to you doesn't mean that's like the abusive boyfriend who won over his girlfriend by being really kind and then, you know, beats the shit out of her every night, but she stays with him because, oh, you don't know, he's got such a kind heart. You know, it's like that. You know, you just gotta get out of there. You know, don't keep torturing yourself just by staying there. And unless either that or these things you don't want to mention, which I'm glad you don't, because I mean, otherwise this video would get really awkward and I probably would have skipped the question. But you gotta clear the air. Like, if these are normal people, you should be able to clear the air, right? A good talk always solves an issue or two. So either talk to the people who you had issues with and mend some of those friendships, or leave. I mean, I don't really see much another choice other than just torturing yourself by being there all on your own. So hopefully that advice helps. Yeah, you got to do it. Just do it. You can do it. You can do it. Oh, right, and the final post for this video, everybody's so busy grinding anima weapons, got less questions this week. I'm sure that's actually what it is. Or they're all posting on Reddit, who knows. Anyway, last question. Hey, Haps, first time asking yourself a brilliant key of your choice. That's a Blatant Soul reference, and I'll take all the brilliant keys, thank you very much. TLDR, lost parts of our static and having problems getting replacements, please advise. My static has been floundering on Savage and Thornton, and several people in the group have stopped playing. Oh, okay. So I can kind of sum this up. You're recruiting people, then somebody leaves. Recruit someone leaves. Recruit, then someone leaves. That happened to the static I was in 2.3. Or I'm sorry, just before 2.3, where our raid leader, Yeevee, had to boot someone, replace them, then had to boot somebody else, then replace them. It just kept happening over and over again before he just quit and gave up. So anyway, but you're on Goblin, which is a lower pop server, so can you do anything else different? I mean, other than stopping just looking for people on your server, put out recruitment threads on Reddit and on the official forums, so people who are looking for any sort of static, looking on Thornton or A3 progression, they can find something. You know, just don't just look in the party finder or something like that. I don't know if you're doing that, but that would definitely be something to do. And make sure you're being completely honest about your progress in those places, so that way people can get a rough idea for exactly where they should be when they're applying for your static. Other than that, I can't really give too much advice. I've never been on the forefront of recruiting for anything, ever. I'm not a good recruiter, because I'm always like, oh, this person's so nice, but I know that if they're not good enough, I have to tell them, or something along those lines. So I'm too much of a softie to do recruitment. I can always give input towards recruitment, but I can never make the hands down deciding factor. So hopefully that advice helps. I know it's not a whole lot, but just look for more avenues and don't give up. That's the best thing I can tell you. Anyway, thank you everyone for your questions. I'm glad to have this video done pretty quickly. Now I can get back to dinner. Anyway, I'm done with this week's video. Here's those videos again. The same 3 videos. I don't know which one is where, but they're all here somewhere. Well, yeah, look at that. My hand is waving. Anyway, be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and ask your questions for next week's video in the forum thread in the description of the video. So go to the description of the video. You'll see a Dream Network forum thread. Click on it, sign up for the forums, and then you can ask your question. And remember, if it's really long, try to give a TLDR. It helps improve the likeliness of it being answered. And if it's like a generic, what should I do question, try to find something that differentiates it, because otherwise those questions, I can only give you generic answers most of the time. So anyway, thank you everybody for watching this week's episode, and I will see you on the live stream where we're going to go to 900 subs. Yeah! Okay, bye-bye.